Welcome in to Bears Weekly, powered by IGS Energy, a Chicago Bears network production. Bears Weekly is brought to you by Advocate Healthcare, Athletico Physical Therapy, CDW, Connie's Pizza, IGS Energy, and Miller Lite. Here are your hosts, Jeff Joniak, a.k.a. the Mayor of Bearsville, and his sidekick, Tom the Surfmaster Thayer.
It's a Monday edition after a terrific Family Fest practice at Soldier Field of Bears Weekly. If you are not one of the 23,000 plus to come out to Soldier Field, we'll brief you on the outcome of the workout, and there is a lot to pull from this 10th practice for the Bears. This is Bears Weekly on ESPN 1000 and the Chicago Bears Radio Network with Super Bowl winning Bears guard Tom Thayer. I'm Jeff Joniak. Coming up in the program, we visit with Bears defensive end Dominique Robinson, and we'll hear from right tackle Darnell Wright, defensive end Thayer, and special teams coordinator Richard Hightower. Dan Barilli, Jordan Treadup, Katie Fox, our producers, along with Jake Santos tonight in studio, and the executive producer of the Bears Radio Network is Eric Ostrowski. Tom, good evening. Hope all's well. Bears had a walkthrough today after getting a lot of team 11-on-11 reps on Sunday, so no media eyes on it today. They'll practice Tuesday, get Wednesday off, then back Thursday. Friday, the Dolphins come in. Sunday noon kickoff for the preseason opener at Soldier Field. What was your biggest takeaway? I love the fact that they had so many team reps, 11-on-11. It felt like a preseason game in many respects.
Well, Jeff, to give you an exact count, they had 95 plays.
Wow.
That's amazing. That's maybe 30 more than you would get in an actual NFL game. And when you go back and you look at every single one of those plays, I got to imagine it probably took the coaching staff a few hours to get through that tape watching session when you have to take so many different things into consideration, the different amount of personnel changes you're making in there, the different formation changes that you're making, from play in and play out. And then you start coaching the specific details of improvement and the mistakes that you have to get corrected. Oh my gosh. I mean, you're talking about earning a year's coach's salary within that one film session from a practice like that. And I knew it was a lot of reps because my lower back and my legs were getting sore as I was standing there watching every one of these plays. And so, it's kind of weird. A lot of times I watch a practice and I try to focus on a little bit of everything. This practice, I was watching one specific guy on each play. And I think you kind of get a little bit of understanding of where I would coach them, what needs to be changes, the improvements they're making. So for me, I enjoyed every minute of the practice watching it, and you learned a lot about the Bears.
Right. No matter what the outcome was, each snap, offense or defense, winning the snap or whatever the case may be, as head coach Ben Johnson indicated, it was sloppy. We can't have that. We're not going to win a lot of games if we're sloppy. There is so much that you can take out. To me, it was the biggest positive. You got them into a preseason mode for all the players that are first-timers, never been in an NFL stadium, the whole process of spending the night before in the hotel, coming up, regular pregame warm-up, and then you're actually, with the 95 snaps, you're feeling like you got a lot accomplished. But it's the little things that make a big difference. So every teaching technique will be broken down for these players to get better at. And I believe it'll help them throughout the rest of the preseason. There were bright spots, there were low spots. It's exactly what you would expect in any game that you play. So I don't feel any negativity at all about this at all because we are trying to see how much we can learn, and we got to do it in a finite amount of time because the clock is ticking, and it's ticking very quickly. It's going to the intensity alone was great, and it's going to ratchet up when the Dolphins come into practice, when the Bills come into practice. Forget about the games. It's the practices that I'm most intrigued by, and it's going to be the exact same way this week when the Dolphins come to town.
Well, if you could have just taken the Sunday practice and if you could have somehow put a camera into the mind of Ben Johnson. So now Ben Johnson didn't stand on the sideline. He stood behind the offense. And then he called the play through the communication device into the helmet of all the quarterbacks. And so Ben Johnson calls the play. He's looking at the play clock. He knows exactly what he called. He's looking at the defense that's being offered. And then he knows every assignment on offense. And so he's got almost a preconceived preconceived thinking of the play that he just called. So he's so far ahead of all of us that are just watching the snap of the ball and how the play unfolds that, and man, if you could be in the mind of Ben Johnson, it would be incredible, because you're almost knowing and expecting what should happen on these specific plays. And when they do look, a little disorganized, because sloppy for me, for a team that's having a new offense installed, is a kind of a different phraseology. I have patience, because I think you need the patience, and this is going to be something that's going to take up into the first regular season game and beyond to kind of alleviate some of that sloppiness and started getting it more perfected as an offense.
Right. Sloppiness does not linger. That'll be fixed. What you can't fix is if there was no effort involved. There was effort. You had to be, because these guys know it's going to be physical. These have been the most physical practices we've seen around here in a long time. It's consistent every day. And there was a lot of tackling going on yesterday. I mean, it was very enjoyable to watch. And I got to give props to the defense, man. Dennis Allen's got those guys buzzing. They're feeling confident, which you should expect. There are 9 returning starters to that team, and there is competition. There's battles for that defensive line rotation. There's battles to see who's going to be able to make this team up front. There's battles at the third linebacker spot. There's a ongoing competition for who's going to be the middle linebacker. Is it going to be T.J. Edwards? Is it going to be Tremaine Edmonds? Are they going to play both positions throughout the course of the year? And the secondary, there's a bunch of veterans that are in the mix here, guys that are 25, 26 years old, that are really making a big case for making this football team. There's going to be hard decisions to be made in a secondary that seemingly returns the 5 starters, the 5 guys we know, but there's competition brewing, and it's very interesting to watch. It is. How they interact with each other, how Dennis Allen, he's got that look in his eye, man. I saw him before practice. I love watching you coach. He just nodded his head. He didn't say much.
Dennis Allen is not out there to make any friends with the offensive players. And it's very similar to Buddy Ryan. And you felt that competitiveness between the head coach and the defensive coordinator back then, and you can feel it as much as now. And he's very unforgiving, man. He's running a defensive style of play that has versatility, maneuverability, confusion in it. And so as you're a group of guys that's trying to learn the offense, now you're playing against the defense that's playing a very fast, confusing brand of football. It makes it even more difficult. I remember going to training camp practices in 1985. We couldn't even run a play. We couldn't get a pass off because of the pressure that was being put on us by blitzes coming from everywhere.
Now, let me ask you about that. Did you have when that was going on, was there a confidence battle with yourself?
Oh.
And for the offense?
It was kind of building a lack of confidence, but then through that lack of confidence, you build confidence because you knew you were playing against the best defense in all of the NFL. And when you had period emphasis. So in the morning, we always concentrated on the run game. In the afternoon, we concentrated in the pass game. In the morning practices, a lot of times Hampton didn't practice. In the afternoon, in the pass pressure, he practiced. So now you're dealing with some of the greatest defensive pass rushers in the history of the game, and it's a pass emphasis afternoon practice.
And he's fresh.
So yeah, he's fresh, and then they knew what was coming. And I'm telling you, there were the certain periods that we couldn't get a ball off. And I'm not saying that's what I'm seeing now, but when you're installing this new offense, there's just a little bit of patience that's needed.
You guys really get it. You offensive linemen have it hard, man. You got to play every snap of the game. The defensive line rotating, waves of players coming in fresh. It's the fourth quarter. You get some young guy coming there off the edge. He's played like 20 snaps. You've played 70. I mean,
we wouldn't have it any other way.
There's no picnic, Tom. No picnic for you, that's for sure. That's Tom Thayer. I'm Jeff Joniak. Coming up, we visit with Dominique Robinson next on ESPN 1000 of the Bears Radio Network.
You're tuned into Bears Weekly with Jeff Joniak on the Bears Radio Network. This is Bears Weekly. With the voice of the Bears for 24 years, Jeff Joniak on the Bears Radio Network.
Welcome back to Bears Weekly, everybody. Jeff Joniak and Tom Thayer, our special guest this week on tonight's show. It's Dominique Robinson, our old friend. How you doing, buddy? See how I say old friend? Now you're a vet now, buddy. You are vet material.
It feels good.
It's gone fast, right?
It is going fast.
Yeah. But at the same time, I'm sure you're feeling like, can I get on the field, start being a major contributor? That's probably been really hard, right? Over the course of your time. Tell me about that. How you getting through it?
It's been a blessing. Tough times, but relying on my faith and knowing that it's the story that God has for me, and at some point it's going to turn over to be something good for me, and it'll be something that I can tell later on down the road. So I'm feeling pretty good about it right now.
Yeah, well, you got new eyes on you.
Yes, sir.
So do they see a different Dominique Robinson? Maybe
I personally believe they do. So I just got to keep showing them who I am and letting them see, how good I can be.
6'5", 275, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so schematically, when you have a chance to invest a little bit of time now with your position coach and the defensive scheme, is this a good fit for Dominique Robinson?
I think so. It shows my versatility where I can go on and do the 4-eye stuff and also play the edge. So the more, it's the name of the game, the more you can do, the better. So
as we sit here talking to the Dominique Robinson, who's become a veteran in the NFL, pretty darn good, mentally, physically, fundamentally, how have you changed to still be here with the Chicago Bears?
Yeah, so mentally, it's funny because me and my wife talked about this not too long ago. Mentally, I feel like I've been through it all, through trade stuff, in terms of, my test coming in, that my second year, possibly, rumors of, just not playing. So I'm thinking I could get cut at any point. You know what I mean? So I haven't been cut yet. I haven't been released yet. So that's the last thing that I have not been through. You know what I mean? So the stress.
I need a piece of wood, knock down wood.
But the stresses of that have mentally made me just a little tough. You know what I mean? Where it's like, whatever happens, God has it. I'm putting my best foot forward no matter what. So if it happens, I can go home and be like, I tried my best. I did my best. Physically, every offseason I work my butt off.
You can tell.
Yeah, that's something that I take super serious. I can't sit back long. Like I probably only took a week off since the offseason. So I've been working. I've been getting stronger, faster. Been working with a new D-line coach. I think the improvements are there in terms of the physicality and on the mental side.
Dominique Robinson, our guest here on Bears Weekly on ESPN 1000 of the Bears Radio Network. Tommy, go ahead.
Dom, the whole idea of the being cut, that can't even enter your mind because you're beyond that. So I walked into that building. I started every game for 8 years, and every single day I walked in there wondering if this was going to be the day I get cut.
Right.
And so I think it's that has to be motivating for you as much as you got to, somehow keep that out of your head. So my advice to you would be, don't let that infiltrate Dominique Robinson.
Oh, it hasn't at all. Trust me. I'm super confident. I have no doubt in anything. I don't come in here concerned about being cut. I come out here ready to play, ready to put my best foot forward, and that's the only thing I care about.
So I was talking to Tom yesterday about this because I'm getting ready for my board for the first preseason game, and so I have last year's numbers and stuff and weights. And I'm looking at the roster. I'm like, Tom, these guys are all getting big. I had you at 250-something last year. So did they ask you to get bigger?
Actually, I was 270 last year. They just never updated the –
Okay.
Yeah, they never updated the roster weights.
Okay. All right. Well, see, I'm trying to – hey, Tom, they're getting these guys big and strong. So you were – okay. But you look fantastic. What other than the obvious and hitting the weight room, and now there's a new philosophy in the weight room. Yep. You got some serious men in there.
Oh, yeah.
Has that transformed you in any way, even more than a year ago? And are you stronger? Have they gone to a different style with you?
Oh, definitely. They changed a lot of what we do in the weight room. And I'm not saying that it hasn't changed me. It's just I work so hard in the off season that I come in almost ready to go. So I feel like they maintain it. For me, they're doing a good job of maintaining what I had in the off season. In the previous years, I kind of lost some throughout the season, and as camp went. But as of right now, I've been good at really maintaining my weight and my strength. So, kudos to them. They really know what they're doing.
Tom, back it just started recently. There's kind of in college football, they give history. They say history. You hit the thing with your mouse, and it gives a picture of them when they start as freshmen, and you could see if we did this with Dominique Robinson, the high school quarterback. What were you weighing then?
220.
220, and now a 275 piece of Rock Mountain right here. Yeah. Oh my gosh! I mean, it's
2
crazy.
years ago when he showed up at training camp and he looked so obviously different. That's all we talked about all training camp was, man, that dude was invested in the offseason.
Yeah. I work.
Another thing, Dom, is you're uniquely enough, you're such a good athlete that you're always going to be considered for special teams. So from the first game of my career until the last game of my career, I played on kickoff return. Do you still, get the attention of Coach Hightower and say, look, I can contribute, I can play on different segments of special teams just because, the more you can do, the more it increases your profile?
Most definitely. I take special teams very serious. Right now, in terms of depth charts, things will change as it goes, but I am a part of 3 of the 4 special teams. I'm on all 4, but I'm in with the ones right now with the, so I'm looking forward to being on special teams, and I think I play a huge role, especially in punt return. I love going out there trying to get after the punts and trying to block punts and field goal block. So that's my thing.
I saw some good moves out there pass rushing, though. You mentioned your new D-line coach, Jeremy Garrett, came from the Cleveland Browns, but a lot of college experience with him. What is he unlocking? I mean, I thought it was Sweat for a second because you got the hands.
Yeah.
Boom. You know which one I'm talking about.
Oh,
you had a good rep late.
Yeah.
Good rep late rushing off the right side of the offensive line.
He's teaching us really well, man, how to get our shoulder turn, violent shoulder turn, just playing more violent. And with violence comes wins at some point. So really trying to hone in, 2-foot push, keep my eyes on my key, and trying to, minimize things as a D lineman. There's so much going on in terms of the backfield and stuff like that. So the more you can minimize and focus in and hone in on one detail, it'll make this picture a little bigger.
All right, I'm going to use both of you here for this. Okay, so he mentioned the 2-foot push for those people listening. They're wondering what that means. So tell me as a defensive end. Tom, then you tell me as an offensive lineman what he's talking about and how you're going to work with him, but go ahead.
For me, in terms of setting the edge and things like that, I have more power. They're teaching us that we have more power when we are able to have a 2-foot push and we're able to keep our feet behind us and our hips in front of us in terms of striking an offensive lineman, setting an edge, and keeping a firm edge. So it's been working. It's different, but it's working.
Is it now just muscle memory?
It's not yet.
Not yet. Getting there?
As the season goes on, it should get that way, but every day it's you kind of got to focus on it.
All right, Tom, they're talking violence on all 3 phases. So they're going to come. They're going to knock back. We keep hearing that. So as an offensive lineman, what are you expecting when you?
Well, I have 2 different approaches. First of all, if I'm one-on-ones, we're off to the side, we're doing one-on-ones, I'm jumping the count. I'm always going to try to be a little bit quicker so I can try to get my hands in and then start that battle of his push against, where my hands are placed. And then if we're doing teamwork 11 on 11, I'm still going to try to concentrate on that snap count and take advantage of knowing what the initial movement is. So Dom, when you're out there practicing and you're going through these moves that Jeff's talking about, when you go to the line of scrimmage, do you even think of the offensive tackle you're playing against, or are you thinking about what your move is going to be?
So for me, in the previous years, coined myself to have a ton of moves, or at least 3 moves. So when I would step to the line, that was my issue. I was thinking too much. I was thinking of this move. This guy does this, so I can do this. I get to the block. I stutter my feet. I don't do the move. I don't do anything. You know what I mean? So I have minimized my thinking to one move. Just think of this one move. This move works. I'm going to do it no matter what. After that, then I'll work off of that. So for me, I guess I am a thinker a little bit. So for me, I have to minimize things. If I think too much,
well, Tom has a phrase, man. Tom says this repeatedly, and he's taught me this. Dom, if you think, you're beat.
Yep.
And it's simple, but difficult to overcome, right? I'm the same way as a non-athlete. I think too much.
Right.
So, Dom, this week when Miami comes in, you're going to be seeing guys that you haven't seen in a stance once. So I think that it will help you be that non-thinker and just be the explosive guy out of your stance that you can be. Right. You're physically built for it. You got the length. You got the athleticism. So that's what you're going to have to do is just unleash what you've been learning against guys that don't know anything about you.
Oh, yeah. I'm excited.
Well, lastly, let you go. We appreciate it. We always love talking to you. One of our favorites, man. We root for you hard. Root for you hard. You put a lot into this.
Appreciate it.
Dennis Allen. Somebody asked me about him today. What do you think? I just love his demeanor. I mean, we could talk about Ben all day long too. They look like twins. Am I right? I mean, tell me, take me behind the scenes of Dennis Allen.
He's a hard guy. He is a hard guy. I love it personally. He's gonna coach you hard, and that's what we needed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We needed guys, everybody to be on the same playing field, no matter who you are. Everybody's gonna coach the same. If you mess up, He's gonna get on you. If you do good, he'll shout you out a little bit. You know what I mean? But
not too much love, though.
Exactly. But that's just who he is. He's not changing for nobody, and it's perfect.
All right, Dom, we'll let you go. Appreciate it. Good luck for the rest of this preseason. Thank you so much for your time. We'll continue with Bears Weekly. Jeff and Tom next on ESPN 1000 of the Bears Radio Network.
You're tuned into Bears Weekly with Jeff Joniak on the Bears Radio Network. Welcome back to Bears Weekly on the Bears Radio Network. Here's your host, the voice of the Bears, Jeff Joniak.
This segment of Bears Weekly is brought to you by Athletico Physical Therapy. Visit athletico.com to request an in-clinic or virtual appointment and start feeling better tomorrow. Jeff Joniak, Tom Thayer. It was good talking to Dominique Robinson. As we indicated, man, we root for certain guys. We root for everybody, but there's certain guys that have been here a while and still trying to find their way, find that niche, find that role. And he's doing that right now.
One thing I like about Dominique Robinson, you appreciate the guys that the game is important to them. And sometimes the biggest reflection of how important the game is to them is what they do in the offseason that get their body ready for the next year. And so when he came back to camp last year, you brought it up, and it was brought up by everybody, what a difference his body looked like, and because of what they asked him to become. And so he invested, time, money, energy into the weight room, and he came back looking like a different player. But now you want to see all that hard work and effort in the offseason, pan out during the season. And I think you've seen that out of Dominique Robinson. He's got unique athletic skills. He has the ability to contribute on all special teams, and he's been able to do that. But I still think his talent is at a pass rushing defensive end. 6'5", 275. I think that he's a guy that's coming in here, and he's a candidate for one of those roles.
Yeah, when he first got here, he was in the 250 range. He was a former quarterback, tight end, didn't play a lot of defense. So sometimes that transition takes some time, but he is a great athlete, big, strong, and he mentioned it. The thinking part of the game has to be overcome, and I think that happens for a lot of players.
Well, he talked about it, how he doesn't go to the line of scrimmage getting a stance with having a bunch of things running through his mind. He goes in there with one singular thought of how to defeat an offensive lineman and then be the most explosive athlete that you can possibly be. And I think that will really pay dividends for him, because he does have explosiveness and he does have the traits in order to incorporate into a pass rusher.
All right, so Dayo Adengbo also on the minds of us right now, because free agent transition from the Indianapolis Colts. He was opposite the Bears in that practice a few years ago in Indiana we were enjoying. It was a very, very chippy practice. You might remember that, Tommy. That was fiery. That was a fiery practice, so he remembers that, and now he's going to bring it over to the Bears against Miami this week. I'm interested to watch those battles, and it happens. That's where it all starts, up front, or if a corner and a wide receiver get tangled up, and then you start having some issues.
I listen, every single joint practice I've ever been a part of, Coach Ditka used to say, don't ever go down to their level, make them come up to our level. So right now, Jeff, beware. You're going to get evidence of this because we've seen the practice that Ben has been putting these guys through. There is hitting, there's live tackling, there is some huge collisions out there. Now, is Miami going to come in here, or are they going to live up to what the Bears have been going through? And so I think every one of these guys on the Bears that are out there competing can benefit from the practices they've been working through.
So earlier today, after the walk through Dayo Adengbo, one of the Bears at the podium as he gets ready for what is going to be an interesting competition up front, the rotation of this defensive coordinator, Dennis Allen, what he's looking for. Adengbo's got the size, the length, and the athleticism after a good stop with the Indianapolis Colts in his first few years. Here's Dayo Adengbo.
I think every defense is different. Learning a new scheme, having new responsibilities, new techniques, new alignments. It's definitely different, and trying to figure out where your game fits in with that.
Anywhere where you feel like it is a good fit for you?
Yeah, all over the place, just playing tighter to the tackles and being able to set the edge from that point. And, a lot of the stunts and movements and letting that shine. So,
is there something about this system that you feel is going to accentuate your game better than where you've been?
Yeah, like I said, a lot of the movements and, simulated pressures, bringing 5, 6, being able to affect the quarterback in that way and have the D-line moving around, it's definitely going to help.
What's it like for you playing for Dennis Allen?
It's fun, he's intense. He's an intense guy, and I enjoy that. I enjoy playing, having him as a coordinator and playing in his defense.
The amount of hitting you guys have done, is this normal to you? Does it seem high, low?
I say we definitely probably go live more than a lot of teams. That's kind of understanding. We got two intense, an intense D coordinator and an intense head coach, so that's kind of expected, and, that's something we're all okay with.
What do you like most about this defense in general, would you say?
Just the aggressiveness of it, being able to, like I said, affect the run and pass in different ways, different looks. It definitely makes it tougher on the offense, and I think that's shown.
You described Ben Johnson as intense, too. What's it been like playing for him so far?
He's very demanding. You could tell he's a perfectionist. He wants it done a certain way, and if it's not done that way, he's going to call you out about it. So that's something you definitely want from someone leading your team that's, not afraid to call people out and see how they respond.
Has he been doing that with the defense, too, when he comes into your meetings?
Yeah, he'll do that with the defense, offense, special teams. It really doesn't matter. So he'll do it in the team meeting or however it needs to be done.
What are you learning about Dayo Adengbo when you watch him practice?
So when I look at guys with length, I always want to see, is their length going to be an asset or a detriment? Sometimes they bend arms and they allow the offensive lineman to get hands to them, and then that length is not an asset anymore. One thing about Dayo, he's got a fast twitch gear to him. So he not only can use his length, but he has a good initial explosion off the line of scrimmage where he can put the offensive lineman in kind of a retreat position. And then if Dayo is able to create separation with his length, he's got that fast twitch gear to be able to create escapability. And one thing that I noticed this when I looked at his highlight tape in the offseason when they brought him in as a free agent. I kind of look at some of his pass rushes that he won with such immediacy that I wanted to see how that trait would carry over to not only playing against offensive tackles, but playing on the inside against guards. And so that's one of the things that I've really been able to appreciate about Dayo is being able to use length with fast twitch, because not all lengthy guys have that fast twitch gear, and Dayo has been able to put that on display.
They have these guys, they put together their toolbox of moves, and you trying to figure out what move they're going to make and vice versa, how they think they can beat you, get on your edges or go down the middle of your chest or whatever the case may be. I know you don't like the word thinking, but you are setting guys up, aren't you? And you then, in turn, are anticipating what their moves might be. You explained some things to me at practice the other day about spin moves because they're prevalent. Everywhere in the league, guys are trying spin moves. That guy Bears going to face week 2, Aiden Hutchinson, is deadly with it. When he sets up wide 9, way outside the tackle, puts a tackle in a really difficult position on an island. How you walk through that, how you think. How does an offensive lineman, just take Dayo, for example, what he's trying to set you up with over the course of a game, if you're playing outside or if he's going to cut across his face and go inside, you might have to help out your tackle and pick him up at the guard position. What's the process?
You can't be over aggressive. The worst thing you can do to any defensive player, whether it's a linebacker or a lineman, is getting too much over the top of your toes. And if you're over aggressive and then you get your head down for an instant of time, you're going to fall forward. You're going to fall on your face. And the thing about it is, if you could stop from being over aggressive and staying out under your feet, under your base, you're going to be able to be in control of your body and your strength. And that's the one thing that if an our defensive lineman sees that you're susceptible to getting your head out over your feet, then you see that spin move. And we saw it from the Indianapolis Colts guys for years in how successful Dwight Freeney and Robert Mathis were with that move.
We're not going to really know until the games start, but are you seeing progress in the front where you always hear, we're going to rush 4 as 1. Now, they're going to add more to it than that. The pressure package is lining up heavy on one side and really put the offensive line in hopes of conflict. But are you seeing progress with 4 rushing as 1?
Yes. And I was paying attention to that in practice the other day because Dennis Allen always says he wants his defensive lineman to fight that individual offensive lineman who's trying to block him. And I think when you have the variety of talents, when you have a Grady Jarrett going against a guard that he doesn't have any help from the center or the tackle, or you got the power and the length and the disengageable ability of Dexter Sr., their traits are allowing these guys to be more competitive immediately because there's so many different traits that Dennis Allen is able to line up. And so I really think that it's going to help each and every one of these guys. Okay, now something I'm thinking about in Miami practice. So now, ever since you've been going through OTAs, through mandatory minicamp and training camp, you're listening to the cadence of the Chicago Bears, and they follow to that rhythm of the Chicago Bears. Now you're going to go to practice, whether it's one-on-ones or teamworks, you're going to hear a whole different tempo of a cadence. So now we're going to have to see the discipline out of the defensive rushers, the defensive linemen, to make sure they don't become susceptible to that, we call it herky-jerky, or just that little jump at the line of scrimmage. If they can stay discipline and understand what their get-off tempo is, you're going to see the Bears defensive line perform like they have in practice.
Coming up next, Darnell Wright joins us with Tom Thayer, Jeff Joniak, and Bears Weekly on ESPN 1000 and the Bears Radio Network.
You're listening to Bears Weekly on the Bears Radio Network. Welcome back to Bears Weekly on the Bears Radio Network. Here's your host, the voice of the Bears, Jeff Joniak.
This segment of Bears Weekly is brought to you by IGS Energy. With Tom Thayer, I'm Jeff Joniak. All right, Darnell Wright, the veteran right tackle. Big year for him here in year 3 at the podium. Lots of sloppiness, as was indicated by Ben Johnson following Sunday's practice. And that pre-snap operation that's so important to him was the topic that started the conversation with the former Tennessee right tackle.
Probably the most thing is just communication between everyone. Doing a better job at that, probably. That's what we need to do as a whole, just communicating in and out of this huddle.
There was a time when you guys were going towards the south end zone, Caleb looked pretty frustrated after you guys got flagged for one. Like, when you guys all get back together, what's his message to the offense to get it cleaned up?
I don't remember exactly which one that is, but the biggest thing is just everybody just communicating, being on the same page so we can roll.
Have you noticed a difference in Caleb's demeanor in the huddle in year 2?
Yeah, he's a little bit more confident. Just seems a little bit more poised. Obviously, second-year player. Still some things, as you're learning, there's stuff to go through, but he definitely seems a little bit more confident and poised.
What's the communication been like with Jonah and kind of getting to know him on the fly here?
Yeah, me and him, we've been rolling this whole time, and I think we've been developing some chemistry, some things like as you play O-line, you kind of like somebody might grunt a certain way, you kind of understand what he's saying. So trying to get into that, just get that chemistry down. So it's been good.
How much different has it been facing a defense in practice that blitzes as much as Dennis Allen does, and how do you think that's going to help you guys for the regular season?
Yeah, I think it'll help us just so we'll be in tune with all of our assignments for one, and just have everybody be on their P's and Q's. That's the biggest thing probably.
Has this been the toughest training camp you've had to go through?
I think it's, training camp's training camp. They're all tough, but it's definitely some things that Ben Johnson, saying his offense is that you kind of got to learn. But I mean, training camp is training camp.
Darnell, what are you learning about, or what are you with Caleb in some of those blitz periods that we've seen in practice? What are you learning about him that maybe you didn't already know?
About Caleb, probably the main thing. He can make a play. He can make plays. I mean, we kind of already knew that as well. But I say the biggest thing is how much he can make a play when he does what he does.
What's the challenge that Tez presents, particularly when he's lined up way wide?
I'd say the biggest thing is just because the type of player he is, his length, and obviously he's a good player, but his length is really something that's kind of hard to navigate a little bit.
Was there anything that you learned about yourself with now Dan Richard being your coach?
I think the biggest thing I learned is, I don't have to reinvent the wheel every year. Just learning and build upon some things that I know, and then learn things from him. He's a great coach.
So a lot there. Talked about Caleb's poise, confidence, different than a year ago, the communication, the developing chemistry, how sweat in that wide 9 length is hard to navigate. But Dan Rochar, and that's where I wanted to start, because what great advice. You don't have to reinvent the wheel every year. Once that wheel's rolling, and keep adding to it, you have to refresh every year and get everything back in your mojo. Is that great advice from Dan Rochar to Darnell Wright?
But I will say this about this interview by Darnell. It's the best I've ever heard him sound at the podium. He sounded like that alpha advance that we want to see him make. Because if he turns into that offensive tackle that we know that he has the ability to be, he could change the entire complexion of this offensive line. And Darnell Wright, he's got to make those steps. And you have to increase the expectations on him. Ben Johnson has to go to the drawing board and saying, okay, our point of attack in a power sense is going to be behind Darnell Wright and Joniak or whomever's playing right guard, but he has to be a power alpha on our offensive line. It can't be trickling over to the left, but it's got to be, equally processed. But if we're going to have a point of emphasis on our offensive line, Darnell's got to be an important part of that power point.
And then a couple years ago, the running game did thrive going to the right side behind Darnell.
Yeah, but that's the thing about this offense fits Darnell really well, because Darnell Wright has the athleticism to pull to his left. He can lead sweeps out to his right. They can efficiently run screens, and Darnell can be the lead blocker on a screen to the exterior right. Or he can get in that big double team stance and create that power with a tight end or an offensive guard. And that's why when you have a guy that has that ability of Darnell, Dan Rochar wants to go out there and grow this guy every single day with confidence and coaching.
Well, you just touched on it a minute ago about what training camp was like for you facing that maniacal defense that helped you win a Super Bowl. What advice do you give a player like Darnell when you're facing a Montez Sweat, who's very gifted, obviously, an outstanding pass rusher, and trying to deal with that every day? And if he beats you, you just can't. You got to go back and learn from that, and hopefully they can work together on that as well. Maybe some tips back and forth. I think Montez has done that over the years too.
So the same advice I'd give to every offensive lineman, whether you're a rookie like Ozzie Trapillo or an experienced guy like Darnell Wright, know where your help is and know how to limit your vulnerability. Okay, so if I know that I have a really good defensive end and he's playing an outside shoulder, I'm not going to get over aggressive and jump out to the outside if I know that I got help from the right guard next to me. So I'm not going to open up that pass rush lane. I'm going to limit my vulnerability. I'm going to limit his options. And so if you know where your help is every single time, help may be in the split that you take from the guard. Help may be from a tight end. Help may be from a running back behind you. And so every one of these guys like Ozzie learning the left tackle position here in the NFL, limit your vulnerability by knowing where your help is coming from. And so I think Darnell Wright, when you start putting in and installing this new offense, he's got to know the most minute details of every single player there to help himself. It's back in the day, like Dick Stanfield used to say, I should be able to put you up on the blackboard and you should be able to draw every single guy's blocking assignment. That way you know exactly what everybody's doing and where your help could possibly come from.
So did you have to go on that blackboard?
Every one of us did.
So for every snap?
No, every single guy.
Yeah, give me an example. How'd they test you in the classroom?
So say you're playing against a defense at the time that they're going to run a 34 defense, and we're going to put in a new play, 49 EO. And so EO means end and off guard. 49 is the back that's going to get it and what hole he's going to go to. Now you have to go up there and he's going to say, go up there and draw every single guy's blocking assignment and the ball carrier where they're going. So you have to go up there and man to man, you got to draw every single person's assignment. And it can't just be straight lines. You have to talk about their approach, their aiming point, the anticipation of the angle that the linebacker is going to be influenced by. And they just know that if every single guy knows every single guy's blocking assignment, it can help just the learning curve. Because if I go to the line of scrimmage and I need a little bit of advice or help, you can ask one of the guys next to you. They can help you instantly.
Coming up, Richard Hightower, Bears special teams coordinator, his take on where the special teams unit is at, and head coach Ben Johnson. It's all coming up next on ESPN 1000 of the Bears Radio Network.
You're tuned into Bears Weekly with Jeff Joniak on the Bears Radio Network. This is Bears Weekly with the voice of the Bears for 24 years, Jeff Joniak on the Bears Radio Network.
This segment of Bears Weekly is brought to you by Athletico Physical Therapy. Visit athletico.com to request an in-clinic or virtual appointment and start feeling better tomorrow. Jeff and Tom with you on ESPN 1000. Richard Hightower, always very fun at the podium. From the practice yesterday at Soldier Field, Cairo Santos looked very good, Tom. Very comfortable being in there. It was breezy, but not enough wind to make it too complicated. Hightower was saying he wished it was a little more, but he hit all 5 of his kicks during one drill, that the 2 kickers, and he hit, including from 53, where he's been really unbelievable. Very, very successful from beyond 50. I also want to focus on Torrey Thayer. We haven't talked about him this entire preseason, offseason, nothing. It's like we knew what we have when he came here with some terrific skills, and he had a very, very solid rookie season. Hightower on where he could be headed here in 2025.
Yeah, I mean, you measure his development from this year to last year. So where he was, every rep that he took last year around this time, you look at what it was last year compared to his charts, to all the stuff that we do on film and analytically, when you look at it and see where his numbers are, and they have grown tremendously. So that's how we measure it. And then, how he is as a person and how much more mature he is now and how he's working now is definitely showing in his punting. He's hitting the ball really well right now. I mean, he hit some of those out the back of the end zone the other day. Returner couldn't even get to it. So
we got to look at this guy as a weapon.
So my appreciation for Torrey Taylor kind of gained some ground after the Family Fest practice. So he was out there early, and he was going through a series of punts before he gets the rest of the team involved. And so he's putting on display a variation of ball flight, landing spots, hang time that most punters don't have the capabilities of doing. And he does it with regularity and success. And so I was sitting out there thinking, oh my God, this guy may be one of the most talented punting legs that I've seen since Roan Stark was punting in college when I was at Notre Dame, and he was punting for Florida State. Exactly. Yeah. He was their conference decathlete. So this guy was a super talented athlete, and you get the same look out of Torrey. But his variations of punts, landing spots, ball flight is kind of so impressive to watch that I have a new appreciation for punters.
And I'll tell you, Ben Johnson, proper field position, whether it be pinning guys deep, defense gets him off the field in 3, that's going to impact the creative mind of Ben Johnson with his play calling. I think that marriage is significant, man. That's why Ben he gives them a lot of time on special teams. as we hear here from Richard Hightower.
Yeah, I mean, you always, because he was on the opposing team, you always kind of knew who he was and things like that, but I had never worked with him. But I knew from afar when I watched some of his press conferences or some of that stuff, I was like, the guy's pretty sharp. But then when you work with him and you can see the attention to detail and how he meticulously looks at everything, no matter what it is, dives deep into things, all right, and has an eye. Real head coaches have an eye for things when they happen, all right, and they're able to anticipate stuff. I'm just telling you, like I'm just telling you. And I ain't sit up here and talk about it forever, but you guys just watch. We got a good head coach. I've been around a lot of them. All right, damn good, special. Yeah, he's, like I told you all before, he's heavily involved with special teams, always in meetings, in practice, whatever we need. And then after practice, always asking us, did you get what you need? Or did you get what you need in that period? Do you need more time? Do you need, like, how can I help? And for me, like, for us, that's worth $1 million, right? Just the interaction and the involvement that he has. So he goes above and beyond to try to help not only our area, all areas. He does the same thing with DA. He does the same thing with other people throughout the building.
Effusive praise, Tom. That's the best way I can say. He went on and on about Ben, and he's been around some great head coaches. So, hey, listen, I'm going to listen to the man.
Listen, I appreciate Coach Hightower's compliments of Ben Johnson, because I've been around some great head coaches myself. And George Allen and Mike Ditka and Don Shula are all Hall of Famers. And I told you this the other day. George Allen always said it's defense, special teams, and offense. That's the role of importance. And when you think about what the special teams nowadays they do for a football team, I still think it's offense, but, you know, some of these great head coaches, they believe and they know the role and the importance of the special team. So I really appreciate Coach Hightower and his opportunity to learn and grow and have his opportunity to grow himself as a coach because of Ben Johnson. And I think that this team is going to benefit throughout the season because of what Ben Johnson affords the special teams to do on a day-to-day basis.
I think it's important to underscore the fact that Ben comes off the field, asks both Allen, Hightower if they got enough in. Thanks, everybody, for listening. The executive producer of the Bears Radio Network, Eric Ostrowski. Thanks to Jake Santos in the ESPN studios, and our Bears producers, Dan Briley, Jordan Tredup, and Katie Fox. For Tom Thayer and Dominique Robinson, I'm Jeff Joniak. This has been Bears Weekly on the new radio home of the Chicago Bears, ESPN Chicago. Have a good night, everybody. Bleck and Abdallah are next.
Thank you for listening to the Chicago Bears Network presentation of Bears Weekly, hosted by the Mayor of Bearsville, Jeff Joniak, and Surfmaster Tom Thayer. Podcasts are available on the Chicago Bears official app, brought to you by Verizon and Apple Podcasts. Bears Weekly has been brought to you by Miller Lite.